Mayor Phil Gordon is outspoken in his opposition of SB 1070. Right after the break, he joins us live in the studio to talk about where we go from here.
I think that something has to be done. I think that the federal government has not stepped up and done their part in helping to secure our borders. It's a very tough issue. It's a very divisive issue, and I feel compassion for the people.
I would probably tend to agree with that just because I do believe that people are targeted, and that's the issue I have with it. I am not for people being in this country illegally.
Anyway, then left him alone with patience. Wednesday on CBS 5 News at 10.
In a recent poll, 59% of Americans support Arizona's immigrant enforcement bill, SB 1070. And Phoenix Mayor Phil Gordon joins us now live in the studio. Mayor Gordon, we certainly appreciate your time on a Sunday night. When you hear that statistic, 59% of Americans across the country support this bill. But yet when you see on the flip side, 15 cities have already voted to boycott us. 12 different groups, same thing. About 8 to 9 conventions say they're no longer coming. What has the immediate impact been on the city? Is there a dollar amount that you can put on it?
Well, we have about a $10 to $12 million loss already in conventions that have canceled, lost delegates that didn't come to conventions that were scheduled to come, as well as about 10,000, 12,000 rooms canceled. So that's money just to the city. Then there's the money lost to the state, which is about 3 times that amount, and the money lost to all the private businesses. Let me say on the numbers, though, you know, one thing is, and I think as people have started to see what this bill is about, what it does and what it doesn't do, and the cost of it, that's where I think you're starting to see a change. I will say, though, including myself, that probably the vast, vast majority of all of us are just frustrated that the federal government isn't doing their job, isn't doing an immigration comprehensive reform policy and securing the border.
Now, you're the face of this city. How much hand-holding, how many phone calls have you had to do with CEOs across the country begging them, if that's the correct term, to come and do business here in Arizona? Is that a proper way to phrase
literally that? Begging, pleading, you know, trying to negotiate, not only with private businesses, CEOs, convention planners, sporting events, and then also my fellow colleagues, mayors and councilmen across the states. I'm probably spending at least 8 to 10 hours a day now trying to keep business or at least minimizing the impact.
Our next live guest is Sheriff Joe Arpaio. I know you guys are opposite end of the spectrum, but on behalf of the state, on behalf of the city, is there any way you see common ground on this issue with someone like him, with someone like Russell Pierce?
Well, I think first and foremost that while I don't seek the press that both of them have been seeking, we do agree that the border is broken. Where we disagree fundamentally is, number one, that this law doesn't do anything to secure the cities. In fact, it takes police officers off the street. It costs the city, it's going to cost tens of millions of dollars for every city to incarcerate, and then they'll have to be bailed because these are only misdemeanors back on the street, and then they're here legally until their court date. So it's just really a phenomenal loss for not doing anything other than making us less safe and creating the concern on the racial profile.
Mayor, we got to run. Yes, no. Will it go into effect on the 29th?
I don't believe so. I think it will get stayed.
Phoenix Mayor Phil Gordon, we appreciate your time. Catherine.
All right, thanks so much to both of you. Coming up in the next half hour, the outspoken Sheriff Joe Arpaio will get his insight about where we go from here. That, plus...
And I keep getting the boots in Mexico.
Agents track down immigrant fugitives hiding out in the valley.
Given that it's to enforce the law, that aspect of it, it's a good thing. We'll just have to see how it's implemented. As long as it's implemented in a respectful manner and it doesn't have any consequences to citizens, then this should be fine.
It's going to make the police officers here narrow their thoughts and their mind on Hispanic people only.
Report on Arizona's broken border.
No other issue has both enraged and inspired our viewers more than our ongoing immigration debate. Right now, we hear from the people of Arizona in their own words.
If you're not here legally, you just broke our laws. Now, when we go over there, they want us to respect their laws or we disappear. Why shouldn't we ask the same thing on this side of the border?
It's about civil rights and human rights here in Arizona, and we need to send the right message to the rest of the country that we don't support this bill. and it's not right for our future. I don't want this for my kids.
We took this country. We pushed the Mexicans back.
But that's okay.
We did. We thought about it, and we won. You lost.
I have two little cousins with me here right now who are crying their hearts out because they're afraid that their mother and their father will be prosecuted, whether they are. How old are they? They're 15, 14 years old. What is a 15 and a 14-year-old going to do if they're a natural-born citizen and their mother and father are not?
Well, our immigration enforcement debate may not stop with SB 1070. A look at the emails of the senator behind the bill may show where this all heads next. Here's investigative reporter Morgan Lowe.
We wanted to know what Russell Pierce has been writing to constituents and what they've been writing to him. So we asked for 30 days of his emails. In them, we read the applause, the criticisms, and his future plans. We looked through hundreds of emails sent to and sent by State Senator Russell Pierce. Most were about SB 1070, his immigration law. Emails from supporters outnumbered those from critics 7-1. One supporter wrote, "I think it is about time we take our state and country back from the Mexicans." One opponent wrote, "Mr. Pierce, you are a sick racist and bigot." Pierce replied to some of the opponents, writing, "Do you not care about the deaths, maimings, and billions in cost to America?" One of the more remarkable emails detailed what the controversial state senator wants to accomplish next. He sent it to a list of his supporters. "I also intend to push for an Arizona bill that would refuse to accept or issue a birth certificate that recognizes citizenship to those born to illegal aliens unless one parent is a citizen." We tracked down Pierce to ask him about his plan. People are going to look at this and some of them are going to say, that idea just sounds mean.
No, it doesn't, and they know that. It's common sense. Again, you can't break into somebody's country and then expect to be rewarded for that. You can't do it.
Pierce insists his idea is not only legal, but constitutional. We then showed the senator something else that was in the email he replied to, something he didn't write but forwarded anyway. If we're going to have an effect on the anchor baby racket, we need to target the mother. Call it sexist, but that's the way nature made it. Men don't drop anchor babies, illegal alien mothers do.
What's that got to do with that?
Well, you forwarded that email,
It doesn't matter. Somebody's opinion.
But you forwarded.
It doesn't matter. It's somebody's opinion.
So you don't see anything about the language that was written.
No, what they're trying to say is it's wrong. And I agree with them. It's wrong.
After we spoke to Senator Pierce, he sent me 2 emails containing the reasoning he uses to come to the conclusion that children of illegal immigrants should not have automatic citizenship. You can find them online at kpho.com. I'm Morgan Lowe for CBS 5 Investigates.
The debate over illegal immigration may have some unintended and undesirable consequences. White supremacists may be coming to Arizona because they view it as a more accepting place for their causes.
The state of Arizona is a place full of racial profiling.
Now, images like these have become commonplace over the past few months. Protests over immigration enforcement and Arizona's new law. What you may not have noticed is this: neo-Nazis marching through the streets of Phoenix. People who study these groups say there's a reason they've become more visible in our community.
The line between mainstream and extreme has never been thinner or fuzzier than it is today.
Bill Strauss is the regional director of the Anti-Defamation League. He says these groups feel welcome by the anti-immigration atmosphere. And the Southern Poverty Law Center says the number of active hate groups in Arizona has doubled in the last decade. Now, a side of immigration enforcement that plays out on Valley streets. Tammy Leitner goes along with specially trained agents who track down child molesters, drug addicts, even murderers.
We got 5 targets this morning. One thing they all have in common is they're all criminal aliens.
Policia. These guys are on the hunt for criminal immigrants, some here legally and some illegally. Policia. But all of these fugitives committed crimes in the United States, and it's the job of the Criminal Alien Removal Task Force to send them back home.
Can you go ahead over to number 3 in the event that he leaves before we get over there?
The tough part? These fugitives are professional criminals. They know how to beat the system. They have no social security number, no job, and no permanent address. They move around staying with friends or family.
With criminals, you have to put in more work. You just have to put in more legwork.
Someone is peeking through that window.
Police, open the door.
What's your name?
Fernando.
Fernando
what?
Fernando Ray.